let's read this. Let's deal with this passage. Alfred Nobel, the man behind the Nobel Prize. Okay, so we have true false not given at the start. The first Nobel Prize was awarded in 1895. 1895 is a keyword for me here. And then first, the first. So looking at the passage, since 1901, the Nobel Prize has been honoring men. Hold on, I can say 1895 here. The foundations for the prize were laid in 1895 when Alfred Nobel wrote his last will, leaving much of his wealth to the establishment of the Nobel Prize. No. This number one is wrong. The first one was awarded in 1901. Since 1901, the Nobel Prize has been honoring. So, since 1901, so yes, I started in 1901. 1895 is when the man, Alfred Nobel, wrote his will, and then he donated a certain amount of money to the, to the prize. Number two, Nobel's father wanted his son to have a better education than what he had. So looking at paragraph B, I can see Alfred Nobel was born in Stockholm. His father, Emanuel Nobel, was an engineer and inventor who built bridges and buildings in Stockholm. In connection with his construction work, Emanuel Nobel also experimented with different techniques for blasting rocks. Successful in his industrial and business ventures, Emanuel Nobel was able in 1842 to bring his family to St. Petersburg. There, his sons were given a first-class education by private teachers. Okay. Hold on. Nobel's father wanted his son to have a better education than what he had. Wanted. This part of wanted. This is interesting. It says he brought his family. They didn't tell us why he brought his family to St. Petersburg. And then he says there, his son were given first-class education. The training included natural sciences, languages, and literature. By the age of 17, Alfred Nobel was fluent in. His primary interests were English literature. Okay, now look at this next sentence. Alfred's father, who wanted his son to join his enterprise as engineers, disliked Alfred's interest in poetry and found his son rather introverted. This number two is tricky, but I think I'll just go for not giving. We are not sure about this issue of wanted his son to have a better education. I'm not sure. I can't see anything to support it. I can't see anything to support it. I'm not sure of it. Number three, Nobel was an unsuccessful businessman. Okay. Nobel, in order to widen Alfred's horizon, his father sent him abroad for further training in chemical engineering. During the 2-year period, Alfred Nobel visited Sweden, Germany, France, and the United States. In Paris, the city he came to like the best, he worked in a private laboratory of Professor T.J. Closet, a famous chemist. There he met a young Italian chemist, Sobrero, who 3 years earlier had invented nitroglycerin, a highly explosive liquid, but it was considered too dangerous to be of any practical use, although its explosive power greatly exceeded that of gunpowder. The liquid would explode in a very unpredictable manner if subjected to heat and pressure. Alfred Nobel became interested in nitroglycerin and how it could be put into practical use in construction work. This issue of businessman is, I've not seen it yet. So, next one. Number four. Bertha von Stotter was selected by Nobel himself for the first Peace Prize. Okay, let me just continue reading. He also realized that the safety problem had to be solved. Okay, paragraph D now. After his return to Sweden in 1863, Alfred Nobel concentrated on developing nitroglycerin as an explosive. Several explosions, including one in which his brother Emil and several other persons were killed, convinced the authorities that nitroglycerin production was extremely dangerous. They forbade further experimentation with nitroglycerin within Stockholm city limits. And Alfred Nobel had to move his experimentation to a barge anchored on Lake Malaren. Alfred was not discouraged, and in 1864 he was able to start mass production of nitroglycerin. To make the handling safe, he experimented with different additives. He soon found that mixing nitroglycerin with caseglor would turn the liquid into a paste which could be shaped into rods of a size and form suitable for insertion into drilling holes. In 1867, he patented this material. Okay, he was able to detonate the dynamite rods. He also invented a detonator. These inventions were made at the same time as the pneumatic drill. Okay, so this is all story here. I've not seen this Beta von Stotter. Okay, the market for dynamite. I'm enjoying the story. Funny enough, let me just go and look for Beta von Stotter. At the age of 43, he was feeling like an old man. Okay, I can see Beta here. The most qualified applicants. Hold on. At this time, he advertised in the newspaper, wealthy, highly educated elderly gentleman seeks the lady of mature age versed in languages as secretary and supervisor of household. The most qualified applicant turned out to be an Austrian woman, Countess Berta Kinsky. After working a very short time for Nobel, she decided to return to Austria to marry Count Arthur von Stotter. In spite of this, Alfred Nobel and Beta von Stotter remained friends and kept writing letters to each other for decades. Over the years, Beta von Stotter became increasingly critical of the arms race. She wrote a famous book, Lay Down Your Arms, and became a prominent figure in the peace movement. No doubt this influenced Alfred Nobel when he wrote his final will, which was to include a prize for persons, organizations who promoted peace. Several years after the death of Alfred Nobel, the Norwegian Storting decided to award the 1905 Nobel Prize. Oh, Beta von Stotter was selected by Nobel himself. Ah, no. I don't. Ah, this number 4 is going to be not give. Selected by Nobel himself. It wasn't selected by Nobel. It was selected by the committee. It was selected by this Norwegian whatever Storting. Decided to award the 1905 Nobel Peace Prize to Beta von Stotter for the first peace prize. I think it should be false. I'm looking at it again. It didn't even say first. There's nothing here that suggests that this peace prize was even the first. So, I will just leave it as false. I don't want to waste too much time. Number 5. The Nobel Foundation was established after the death of Nobel. Okay, Nobel Foundation. After Nobel died on December 10, 1896, when his will was opened, it came as a surprise that his fortune was to be used for prizes in physics, chemistry, physiology, literature, and peace. They set about forming the Nobel Foundation. Yes, number 5 is true. It was after his death that they set up the foundation. Number 6, Nobel social involvement was uncommon in the late 1800s. Let's see, is there anything like late 1800s? Nobel's interest. Okay, look at this place here. Nobel was very interested in social and peace-related issues and held what were considered as radical views in his era. He had a great interest in literature and wrote his own poetry and dramatic works. Was very interested in social and peace-related issues. Number 6 says Nobel's social involvement was uncommon. Huh. This is, I can't see 1800 here. Wow. This is, I think I'll go for, the only thing that sounds like social is this place that says interested in social issues. Nobel's social involvement was uncommon. Uncommon means not common. Was not common. Hmm. I think I think I'll pick false. Let me just pick false. I'm not sure really. There are two questions here now that I'm not sure of. Interesting. Okay, number 7. Having accumulated a great fortune in his business, Nobel's father determined to give his son the best education and sent him abroad to be trained in dash. To be trained in dash. Let me go back to the, I think, paragraph C or so. That's where they talked about the fact that his father sent him abroad. Yeah, to be trained in chemical engineering. I think that should, how many words are we to write? 2 words. So, chemical engineering. Number 7, I think it should be chemical engineering. Chemical engineering. Okay. Number 8. He worked in a private laboratory where he came in contact with a young engineer. Look at it here. Young Italian scientist, Ascanio Sobrero, and his invention, nitroglycerin. See nitroglycerin here. So I'm guessing what we have to write in this gap 8 is going to be the name of this. Hold on, no. With a young engineer, they call this guy chemist. Engineer, chemist. That's the only person he came in contact with that they use the word young. I think I'll just write that name. Ascanio Sobrero. Ascanio, Ascanio. Let me check the spelling. Ascanio, Ascanio Sobrero. 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 I think that should be the answer. And his invention, nitroglycerin, a more powerful explosive than, I think the word should be gunpowder. Gunpowder. Yeah, look at it here. Its explosive power greatly exceeded that of gunpowder. I think that's what Alfred Nobel's father used to use. So this is going to be gunpowder. Benefits in construction. Nobel became really interested in this new explosive and experimented on it, but nitroglycerin was too dangerous and was banned for experiments within the city of, they mentioned the city somewhere. The city of Stockholm. Stockholm is in Germany. Then, to make nitroglycerin easily usable, Nobel invented dynamite along with dash. Okay. Detonator. Yes, look at it here. To be able to detonate the dynamite rod, to be able to detonate dynamite rod, he also invented a detonator. That's the word. Detonator. While in the meantime, dash became popular. What became popular? These inventions were all made at the same time as a pneumatic drill came into general use. That's going to be pneumatic drill. Pneu. What's the spelling of pneumatic drill? Let me be sure. Pneumatic drill. Pneumatic. All of which dramatically lowered the costs. I think that should be the costs. Costs, look at it here. Reduced the cost of blasting rock, drilling tunnels, building canals, and many other forms of construction work. So number 13 is going to be costs. The cost. So I've solved all 13 questions. Those true false not given, like 2 of them are somehow, but let's just submit. Okay, 7, band 7. Okay, my number 9 is actually correct. My spelling is accurate. The website spelling is wrong. It's not gunpowder, it's gunpowder. It's gunpowder. Gunpowder. Where is it now? Look at it here. Where is it now? Nitroglycerin. Gunpowder. Where is the gunpowder? I want to look for gunpowder in the passage. That of gunpowder. See gunpowder here. Can you see the spelling? Gunpowder. So that is a website error. Number 3. The answer should be not given. You see, I wasn't so sure about some of my true false not given questions. So it's telling me here that Nobel was an unsuccessful businessman. Okay, that one was, I didn't really spend too much time looking for this issue of businessman. I just picked not given. So let me carefully look at the passage and see. So for the website to have said that, okay, well, this answer is false, then there must be a sentence to indicate that he was a successful businessman. Oh, now I get it. Based on the overall context of this passage, Nobel was a successful businessman. He was so rich that he was able to give money for the Nobel Prize. So without even going back to it, reading this entire passage, taking the understanding of everything in this passage, this guy produced so much gunpowder, sold it, generated a lot of money, and he endowed a lot of money to the Nobel Prize Foundation. That shows that he was a successful businessman. So based on that, I think statement number Statement number 3 should be false. It wasn't unsuccessful. It was actually very successful. But then, let's see, there must be something in the passage to show that it was actually successful. Let me see whether there will be anything like that. I'm looking at the passage. I'm just scanning through. I want to look for something to support the idea that he was a successful businessman. Okay, the market for dynamite grew rapidly. Can you see the word here? See the words what I missed. Alfred Nobel proved himself to be a very skillful entrepreneur and businessman. Can you see? I didn't even take note of that. I must have read that sentence, but somehow I missed it. So number 3, I agree, it should be false. Then number 6, this last one. They said the answer is true. So I'm guessing it is true because of that last sentence in the passage where they wrote social. I think that's why they are saying it is true. He had great interest in literature. Okay, no, this one. Nobel was very interested in social. I was looking at this and I was wondering, but because I did not see 1800. So, but thinking now, Nobel lived in the 1800s. He lived in the 1800s. If you look at the beginning of the passage, because I'm thinking about it and I'm asking myself why. Nobel was born in 1833. Can you see here? He was born in 1833, okay? And then he died in 1890 something. So he lived in the 1800s. So that addresses this issue of 1800, okay? So his social involvement was uncommon. No. His social, okay, so this thing says Nobel's social involvement was uncommon in the 1800s. Hold on, what does that mean? It means that his social involvement was not common. Was not common. Or let's learn here. What is the meaning of uncommon? Uncommon, look at it here. Look at what they're telling me. Out of the ordinary, unusual, abnormal, remarkable. Okay, let's look at different synonyms. Strange, extraordinary, outlandish, irregular, unusual. I think unusual seems easier to understand. Unusual. Okay, unusual. So if they say it is true, his social involvement was unusual, then um, what that means is that Nobel's this sentence here, Nobel was very interested in social and peace related issues and held what were considered, so this part here, held what were considered radical views in his era. Okay, now look at this thing here. His era suggests 1800s. Okay, and then held radical views. Radical views, radical is a paraphrase for uncommon. Thinking about it now. Radical means you are thinking in a way that is different from what others are thinking. If you remember, if you can, unusual. Can you see unusual? Unusual for radical. Let's check other synonyms. Unusual, abnormal, strange. When you say somebody has some strange views, radical views, outlandish views, weird views. Can you see that? So that's actually right. I think they are right by saying that the answer is true. Wow, this is a very interesting one. It's been eye-opening for me too anyway. All right, thank you very much.